I've seen a lot of positive change in my time here in Japan. I moved here in early 2001, and I have seen some really positive change. I've seen women decide to forego having kids, for example, and only work. I've seen women decide to stay in the workforce instead of retiring after they have kids. I've seen a lot more of that, and what I used to see is a lot more women getting married and quitting, just even before they had kids. So I have seen a lot of positive change here amongst my Japanese counterparts. What I see as well is there are a lot of foreign executive women here that also, myself included, help push the envelope for our Japanese counterparts. And I feel very strongly that this is our responsibility. I am not Japanese. I don't look Japanese. I don't sound Japanese. But I love Japan and I love living and working here. And I think it is my responsibility to make the mistakes and be a little bit noisy, to push things forward and pave that path for a lot of the Japanese women who can't necessarily do that, who would struggle more with the things that I can do. So I feel like from a foreign perspective, it is our responsibility to take all of these wonderful opportunities that we get exposed to and push forward so that we're making a path for other women to follow in our place. So I think that is probably one of the biggest changes that I've seen is more foreign women doing this and more Japanese women coming up and pushing forward themselves. I think that's very positive change. A couple of the other changes that I've seen a lot more management dialogue on actively promoting women, about talking to women, much more so than I ever saw in the past. And I think that has been really positively accepted by the younger Japanese women that are coming into the workforce now. I think they're looking and seeing, oh, this is a place where I can grow throughout the time I'm going to be here. Whether or not I'm going to retire from this company or not, they can see that there's more women that are there that they can look to for role models. They see a lot more of their male supervisors actively discussing these topics. They see more of their male supervisors showing up to women's events and showing their support. So I think that is definitely a change. When I first moved to Japan, I never saw anything like that at all. And of course the types of discrimination and really kind of not just unconscious bias but conscious bias that I'd have to deal with at the time, and to some degree still do, has lessened. It hasn't disappeared, but it certainly has lessened. It's always funny when people ask you how much longer you're going to plan to stay here in Japan, because the natural assumption is you don't belong here. So there should be an end date. I have no end date. I have been very fortunate in my career here in Japan to have an amazing, amazing path of very interesting opportunities presented to me. So I don't really see a reason to leave, to be quite honest. But I moved here in 2001. I moved here after the dot-com bubble burst in the US, and I was working in venture capital at the time. So it was an interesting period of time when not much was happening and I didn't quite know what to do. But I had a personal reason for moving here. Mainly since I was a child, I'd always been interested in Asia. And I had the opportunity to move here in early 2001 and decided to take all of the book knowledge that I had acquired about Japan and Asia in general and actually put it into practice. And I have to say that was really hard. And for the first 3 years, I didn't speak any Japanese when I moved here, so the first 3 years, every day was a monumental challenge. We didn't have smartphones at the time, there was no Google Translate, there was nothing along those lines which could really help you, and things were really hard. But after a period of time, I started to feel much more at home here, challenging though it was. And I decided to go back into working for financial firms. I worked for a variety of small companies, mainly in financial services, to help them kind of build their company, build their strategy, or move forward. And I've had a kind of a circuitous route to where I am today in consulting. But I found that as you grow and you make your commitment to Japan, I think that's also noticed by companies, and it's noticed by Japanese executives who take you a little bit more seriously. Certainly, in my age now, you're taken a little bit more seriously than when I was in my early 20s when I moved here. So I think that that's been really beneficial to me. I've learned a great deal by being here. I highly encourage other women to really stake out and to be here and to explore what life and working life here in Japan could be.